it's hard to react and to have a constructive conversation with these people when they're just going, deported, you're out. Or I'm cancelled from the left. It's the same thing. I say a thing, they misconstrue it. They think I want genocide for the whites, and that was taken from a clip I had said.
Well, you could clear this now. Would it be better if England was governed by English people or non-English people?
English people or non-English people?
Andrew Gold, foot in mouth once again, wants to tell you who should run England, cannot tell you what an Englishman is. Today we're looking at a clip from Andrew Gold's YouTube show Heretics. He interviews Carl Benjamin, and Carl Benjamin will walk in circles around Andrew Gold, much like Stephen Laws did. Carl Benjamin's going to use some bigger words, but he's going to get at the same basic point as Stephen Laws. Andrew is going to kind of tell us something about maybe what civic nationalism is as soon as he can figure out what it means to be English. Let's get into the clip, and we'll see how deep of a hole Andrew Gold can dig for himself this time.
I think I regret saying, implying in my latest, that there isn't an English ethnicity, and that's been bugging me. But but it's hard because you feel, what is your place then? And my family have been here since the 1800s. I never thought of myself as anything but English, and I also think there is a slight trick in the way people have started using the word English, because of course ethnically English is one thing, but there's also the concepts of civically or even nationally English, which is how we used to mean English. There are plenty of examples over hundreds of years of people talking about English black people or English Jews. Benjamin Disraeli was often described as an English Jew. So that's been a kind of trick that I wish was instead said as, oh, but you're not ethnically English. But when people just say, no, you can't be English, which many people say about themselves. I think Suella Braverman would say she isn't. She
has said that.
Yeah. I think that's a bit slippery.
The problem is that the culture and the political life, and then therefore the sort of civic norms that we take from that, are predicated on the ethnic group. This is why the word civic nationalism isn't really anything. Right? There is no English civic life without the English people because of the way that they behave politically. And so if you have demographic replacement and the English are no longer actually representative of the country, or the majority of the country, and the political life thereby doesn't resemble English political life. I mean, a great example of this is in Leicester, where they of course have ballot harvesting and ballot stuffing scandals and domestic slavery and things like this. These are all things that are really counter to the English political experience. Obviously, we abolished slavery everywhere for everyone, and we run really clean elections. Right? Everyone expects the elections to be fair and will abide by the result. Well, that's not the experience of the non-English people in Leicester, and so they're just running it in the way they want to run it. It's the same with Somalis in Minnesota. The political culture is a product of the people themselves, not some abstract set of political science and theory, right? And so saying these people are going to be English Jews or English blacks or whatever, yeah, that's fine, as long as we have that kind of demographic security in which we can guarantee the culture and the political environment is going to be noticeably English. But if you don't have that, then it will just change, and you won't have the civic nationalism that people are arguing for. So all civic nationalism is predicated on the ethnos itself, so it's kind of a fiction.
But these things are all nuanced to an extent, right? There's no yes and no, there's no deport everyone.
There's no hard line.
Okay, so let's just start right at the very beginning. An ethnic group, an ethnicity, is a group of people who have a shared genetic lineage and a shared cultural lineage. Both of those lineages are emergent properties that result from a recursive process that comes from the same exact base case. That was a bit of a mouthful, so let's talk about the base case and we'll break it down into just wicked simple terms. A group shares a residence. They share a piece of land. Once they share that piece of land, that locks them in, and they now share a struggle against both nature and typically other groups of people as well. That struggle right there, that forges shared values and myths for that group of people. That's the crucible for the shared values and myths that will turn into culture. That cultural cohesion that comes from those shared values and myths, that actually makes reproduction more likely. Once people start reproducing together, that creates a feedback loop where the need for boundary defense to protect the group itself, that increases too. That also creates a feedback loop, which then creates yet again an even stronger sense of cohesion for the group, because boundary defense is going to be inherently traumatic. It's going to create those conditions that caused cohesion within the group in the first place, but now they're happening at an amplified level because you have children together now, and so the stakes are just higher for everything from here out. So that's the whole loop right there in a nutshell. If you run that for 500, 1,000, 10,000 years, what you're going to get on the far end of that is a people with a recognizable phenotype, what we would typically refer to as race. And they're also going to have a unique cohesive culture. And that's what we call a nation. Those two features combined, that is an ethnicity. That's an ethnic group. Get Andrew on the phone, tell him we figured it out. We know what the English ethnicity is. Now, riddle me this, Andrew. What is your shared trauma with these people? What is it that bound your ethnicity to theirs? Why are you a member of their in-group instead of just a foreigner LARPing in their midst? We're going to skip ahead here to listen to some more stuff that Carl's saying, because Andrew's he's not actually saying anything. He just keeps running around in circles.
But the immigration issue is about essentially magisterium, the thing that you consider yourselves to claim. Well, it's hard to feel that you have a claim over London. It's hard to feel that you have a claim over Birmingham or Luton or Leicester. And sorry, why are we giving up our cities? Why should we feel like they are not our cities? You know, the people in Pakistan or India or wherever who live here still they feel like they have a claim to their own country. The Mirpuris are like, oh, build us an airport in Mirpur. It's like, you're a Birmingham MP. Like, what are you doing here? Like, then you've got, what was her name? I can't remember which councillor it was in London, in Tower Hamlets, running for the Bangladeshi National Party. That is an explicit revelation that, no, I feel very possessive over Bangladesh. I'm going to run for the Nationalist Party in Bangladesh. But over here, I'm an Aspire progressive councillor. Open borders for thee, but not for me. And it's like, no, this is not acceptable, right? This is not an acceptable political settlement. And this is why you've got sort of the spirit of Gammonzilla rising, which is just the regular people of England, the kind of psychic map of the country that they had and the expectations they had is receding. And they can feel that actually the sort of group power of the English people is being hemmed in more and more and more. And then instead of the government being like, yeah, Christ, what are we doing? They're like, right, you're going to jail with 24-hour courts if you disagree with this. Jury trials, not anymore. Jury trials are guaranteed in the Magna Carta, man. Like,
that's mental that they're getting rid of those. If they do.
Okay, and who's doing it?
Who is doing it?
David Lammy. David Lammy wrote a book.
It's not because he's black, though.
I didn't say that.
No, I know you didn't say that. But I'm not suggesting you said that. But I mean...
Andrew, just doing what Andrew does, completely derailing the conversation with an absolute non sequitur. You know, Carl's on a roll and Andrew's just got because he's black. It's not even relevant to the conversation and not at all where Carl was going. But this is what Andrew does. He won't actually let you get your point out, because at the end, if someone like Carl, or God forbid, someone like Stephen Laws actually gets to articulate their thoughts entirely and finish out a sentence in the presence of Andrew, Andrew's arguments will be immediately defeated. And so he's just going to run the clock down and constantly distract whoever he's interviewing as soon as that person starts to prove that Andrew has no real case, that he makes no sense. Exact same technique used by Piers Morgan, used by Patrick Bet-David, immediate signal that you're dealing with a bad faith actor.
But the point is,
yes.
Right, does David Lammy spiritually feel like an Englishman? Well, if you're abolishing...
He would say yes.
No, you're abolishing jury trials. I'm sorry, you're not... But
then would you say to Tony Blair that he's not an Englishman?
I'm not saying that David Lammy is even a spiritual African either. What I'm saying is he's a spiritual bureaucrat, right?
Yes.
He's doing this for efficiency's sake. He's like, well, we've got this backlog. And I'm like, I don't care if you've got a backlog. You know, I have a right as an Englishman to a jury trial. You aren't taking that away. This is unacceptable, right? But the point is, he doesn't feel like that's his tradition. Like, that, to me, is more important than literally anything else about the state of this country. Well, maybe the immigration thing, but like, the point is that is like, that's like being a Holocaust denier in Israel. You know what I mean? Like Like, what are you doing? You're like, how could you be a Holocaust denier in Israel? Like, sorry, no. How can you be against jury trials in England? Sorry, what do you think you're doing?
We do have to allow. I mean, I'm sure you'd agree as well. I don't like that German law. People who deny the Holocaust.
Yeah. No, obviously, I don't think there should be laws about that.
But I see what you said. Culturally, I wouldn't boot out a Holocaust denier from Israel. I would just say, mate, what are you doing? As you're saying, David Lammy. But so would you feel the same way about someone like, I said, Tony Blair? I mean, I think he's Scottish, is he? He's got Scots lineage.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Some such thing. But would you say what's the difference there? I mean, I guess one of the issues...
Tony Blair's a bureaucrat as well.
One of the issues I've got is when I do see that kind of Twitter, which I call the woke right, and it doesn't include you or Connor or several other people you speak to, it wouldn't do. It would include the people that you've also been arguing with.
Yeah.
But they tend to attack a lot of other minorities. That's my experience of it.
Yeah.
And not focus so much on the white English people who have actually also torn this country apart, and they're ethnically English.
Sure, I mean there are loads. Like most of the Labour front bench are English, but they're just insufferable midwits.
Yeah.
So they're truly representative of our country.
Doesn't that show that there can be? Look, all of these. I'm not one way or the other completely, but I guess
I'm not saying there are no bad English people.
There are so many though.
There you've got it in a nutshell. Andrew's real hustle here is just making sure that no definitive understanding of ethnicity nor nationalism can be established, and by association, no definitive understanding of what an Englishman is. You'll find that the more you listen to Andrew talk, the less you know what he's actually saying. Andrew is here to run down the clock and keep you distracted while the real problems persist at ever-increasing rates. By way of deception, thou shalt wage war. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like, share, and subscribe button and helping this channel grow.